Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about American Underdog. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros: movies about football. And when it comes to sports, all the sport movies, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Football is easily the most popular out of all of them. Looking right here, the official football movies. The biggest one easily, The Blind Side, which destroyed any and all expectations for a sport movie, making 255 million domestic. That's more than most blockbusters make, like big budget blockbusters. This was a rather small movie, and it did amazing in 2009. Then we also have two Adam Sandler comedies in the form of Waterboy and Longest Yard, two of his biggest hits. And then you gotta remember the Titans in 2000, which made quite a bit of cash. And yeah, just looking at these numbers, I mean, like the biggest basketball movie is like the original Space Jam, and I only made like $90 million. Biggest baseball movie, I believe, is 42. That only made like $97 million. Soccer, nobody cares about soccer, at least in terms of movies. I think I don't know what is the biggest soccer movie. I don't even know. And no, I'm not gonna make the whole oh well football is soccer. I'm not we're not getting into that. I guess I don't know, inspirational sports seems most likely. Uh yeah, I'm looking through this. I think Miracle, that was hockey. I think that was hockey too. So yeah, like if you make the right type of sports movie, it can do well. The past has shown us if you do it right, you can do well. So that's a pro for this movie. Not only is it inspirational sports movie, it's a football movie, and those do way better than average in comparison to other sports. So that's pro number one. Pro number two is who this movie is based off. Kurt Warner. Look, I'm be blunt. I don't know shit about football. I know nothing. I don't pay attention to football. I don't care. Okay. But I'm assuming a lot of NFL fans out there would probably care about this movie because Kurt Warner, I mean, he's it says here a two-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Fame quarterback. So he's well known in the football bubble that I'm not a part of. And I imagine a decent amount, or at least I don't know how many, but a decent amount of his fans will want to, see this movie and, see his story, how he went from being a stock boy at a grocery store to a football legend. I mean, that sounds like, well, I kind of have to explain this more when we get to cons, but I think football fans could be interested in this. At least enough of them will be, so I consider that a pro. Just the football fans will be interested in Kurt Warner's story. So that's pro number two. Pro number three, well, I guess kind of a pro is the cast here. I mean, our main man is Zachary Levi, Shazam, right? He's really been, his stock has raised in the last few years thanks to Shazam. So he's instantly recognizable, as is Dennis Quaid over here. He's also recognizable. Anna Paquin, I know she's Rogue, okay, from the original X-Men movies. I don't know what that'll help it at all, but the cast is recognizable. They're not big draws, and I'll get to that when we get to the cons, but they are at least recognizable enough for people to be like, hey, I know who that is. So it's got that going for it. So recognizable cast is a pro. Another pro I can think of, well, it's opening on Christmas, and usually movies that open on Christmas Day, they can do well. Some don't. But a movie like this, like an inspirational sports movie that's, clearly most people have said it's kind of going after that faith-based audience. And, for this being a Christmas release, it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. What doesn't make sense is the date, coming out on a Saturday, but I'll explain that when we get to cons. But open this on Christmas Day, it just makes sense. It's like the ideal movie for Christmas. So, yeah, I would consider that a pro, the release date being directly on Christmas. So it's another pro. Another pro, reviews for this movie are quite strong. I think they're in the 90s. Last I checked. I might have to check again because it might have changed. But last I checked, it was like in the 90s. Looking, trying to find it. Oh, 78%. That's still pretty good for a wide release. And as I already said, I always say this, it's better to have good reviews than bad reviews. So, reviews for this are currently good. So, yeah, I mean, they're not going to kill the movie. So, yeah, good reviews is an easy pro right there. Another pro I can think of is that apparently this had like early screenings, like paid previews, and apparently made like around $1 million, which for a movie like this is quite good. I mean, Sing 2 made like 1.5 million in paid previews like on Black Friday. So the fact that something like this can come close to that is pretty impressive, I would say. And not only that, the target audience for this movie clearly love it to death. I think it has. Looking at, is there an audience score? Yeah, 96% audience score at the moment. So they love the movie to death. So, and I imagine it'll get like an A plus cinema score because this movie is like catnip to that audience. Like, if you make the right type of movie for the right type of audience, they will love it no matter what. That's what I've learned. Especially faith-based movies. They usually get like A's and A pluses all the time. It's not hard. So, yeah, paid previews went very well. Target audience loves this. So, those are both pros for this movie. I think that's it with the pros. Okay, cons. Competition. It is rather intense this year. It is brutal. I mean, this movie's opening like where Spider-Man is still raking in tens of millions of dollars a day. All right. So you got to deal with that monster. Not to mention, several movies have already opened yesterday. Sing 2, Matrix Resurrections, The King's Man. Really, only Sing 2 is doing good. Matrix Resurrections is doing not great. And the less said about The King's Man, the better. But still, there might be a situation where there's just too much. There's too much going on. Now, I mean, to be fair, there is a good variety of movies. Like, there's a movie for pretty much everybody this holiday, which is, some would say, is a good thing, but it's just too many movies. And people don't have the money to watch all these movies. They can only watch like one or two. And I'm pretty sure one of those movies is going to be Spider-Man. Hell, people are going to watch Spider-Man multiple times because of how good that movie is. So this movie is gonna have to deal with all that competition. I don't know if it can survive. I mean, it might. It won't do great, but yeah, that's gonna be a tough challenge. So brutal competition is an easy con right there. So that's con number one. Con number two, it's the placement of the release date. You see, Christmas this year is on a Saturday. So it can't open on Friday like a normal movie because Friday is Christmas Eve. And who the hell opens a movie on Christmas Eve? That's an automatic death sentence. You are asking for a failure if you do that. So this is going to have like a 2-day weekend, which is weird. That rarely happens ever. Only when there's holiday reasons. Like, I think only if, I don't even know. I think it's like less than double digits of movies that have opened you know, on a Saturday. So we don't have a whole lot of comparisons. And plus, removing one day out of the weekend, Friday, you gotta scratch that off. Really for every movie. But yeah, that might hurt it a little bit. That might make its opening weekend less impressive. Now, the next weekend, it should be fine. But for this weekend, that 2-day haul isn't gonna look too great. And it's just odd. So Yeah, that Saturday release, not too many movies have tried it, so we don't have, and I don't think any of those movies were like big hits either. So that might come back to bite this movie, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the Saturday release is strange. I don't know if it'll work out. So consider that, even though it is Christmas, the Saturday release is odd. So I'm gonna consider that a con Saturday release because you only got 2 days of the weekend to work with. So that's, oh, I think that's con number two. Con number three is the target audience. The target audience for this, that apparently like the faith based crowd and like football fans, they could be very fickle at times. Like you never really know if they're gonna show up to a certain movie or not. Because there have been plenty of times, especially like faith based movies, like super faith based movies. Like we're talking Passion of the Christ, God's Not Dead, Heaven is for Real, what Miracles from Heaven, War Room, Overcomer, a whole bunch. Like those movies, I think, can Narnia count? Because those are technically Christian books. It's based off Christian source material. I think they qualify. But yeah, like all those movies did fine, but there's just a landfill of movies, faith based movies that just nobody watched, nobody paid attention to. So you never know, like if they're gonna show up or not. They might. I mean, the Christmas release date really helps, but I don't know. I guess we could say a fickle audience is considered a con here. That's con number three. Con number four. Although I did say the cast is recognizable, that doesn't mean they're draws. I mean, Zachary Levi, he was in Thor Ragnarok. I didn't even know that. I mean, sure, he's like Flynn Rider in Tangled, one of my favorite Disney movies, and Shazam, but that's about it, really. I mean, he's only become recognizable now, mainly because he's been mostly doing like TV stuff. What did he do on TV? I think there was a show. I forgot what it was. I have to look it up very quickly. Da 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 da. Chuck, yeah, Chuck. That series. He was the title character of that. But yeah, that's about it. Like he doesn't have a whole lot of credentials to his name in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, it's a little difficult to call him a draw. Dennis Quaid, I mean, he's been around for a long, long time. He's made many movies. His last movie, apparently, at least theatrically, was Midway. That didn't do too great. Dog's Journey did terrible. I Can Only Imagine did great. That was also a faith based movie, and that did extremely well when it kind of just came out of nowhere. But yeah, his track record is so spotty that it is impossible to say if he's a draw or not. I mean, he might be a draw for the older audience, but definitely not for younger people. So there's that. Anna Paquin, yeah, yeah, she's mostly known for her X-Men movies, right? The original trilogy, and well, she was cut in the theatrical cut for Days of Future Past, but she was in the a whole old sorry, her own cut of the Road cut. But yeah, besides the X-Men movies, yeah, she's not. I wouldn't consider her a draw either. So none of the cast really has box office staying drawing power. So that's a con right there. That's con number four. I think it doesn't matter if I count. If I count, okay. Another con I can think of is, yeah, the football movie. I know I already said that football movies have done well in the past. That doesn't mean they do well now. Okay, National Champions came out earlier this month. That made less than $500,000 total. Not opening weekend, not opening day. That's total. That is non-existent. And then before that, Brian Banks failed miserably. Concussion, which was also released on Christmas Day. Uh, that tanked. That did quite terrible. While American did bad, Woodlawn did bad. Let's see, McFarland USA. I think that was about running track. I think I don't remember. When the game stands tall did that was faith based. Draft day did not good. And like the last big hit for football was The Blind Side, and that was well over a decade ago. And even before then, it was very just all over the place. Like the Leatherheads tanked, Long Shots tanked, the Express tanked. Like it's so inconsistent. So even back then, it was iffy. So yeah, like football movies aren't as popular as they once were, obviously. Even back then when they were at their most popular, their track record was spotty at best. So, yeah, but they've become extremely weak now, so I consider that a con against the movie. Uh I think that's it. Well, I guess I can mention this as a pro. There's no real direct competition, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like all these movies are kind of going after different audiences. I guess Sing 2 would be its biggest direct competition, but I feel like that movie's going for like a bit younger than this. So, yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know. At least it won't have any real competition for a long time. At least nothing direct. So, it's got that go for it. Okay, opening weekend. This is weird. I gotta predict a 2 day weekend instead of a traditional three. So Saturday, Christmas Day. Oh man, because it kind of depends. Like obviously Friday, every movie's box office is going to drop hard, and then Friday everything's just gonna not Friday. Saturday is just gonna everything's gonna explode because that's what usually happens. I mean, last time we had a situation like this, like the last time the dates lined up was 2010, which feels like a lifetime ago. But I think the movie that opened that Saturday was Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black, a movie that shouldn't exist at all, and it did terrible. It only made like 6 million in like 2 days. That's horrendous. And then before that was like 2004, like with Fat Albert, that made like 10 million in 2 days. So I don't know about this. I mean, it was probably going to be in between Gulliver's Travels and Fat Albert, somewhere in that range. I'm gonna go with 8 million for the 2 day opening. 8 million, I think, is reasonable for this movie, and it could be a sleeper hit. It could surprise. There have been plenty of Christmas movies that did way better than anticipated. Like Unbroken, that was faith based to an extent. That did way better than anybody thought it would. So we could have a situation similar to that. I don't know. We have to wait until we get numbers, but uh, yeah, I'm gonna go with 8 million for the 2 day weekend. But I wouldn't be surprised if it made more. And total, I don't know, man. Christmas movies are the worst to predict because you never know how long their legs are. It's a mess. So, um, I'm gonna go with 40 to 50 million total. That's what I'm going with at the moment. That's what I'm comfortable with. I don't know the budget for this movie. I can't imagine it's too expensive. So it'll do fine, I think. At least it'll make more money than The Kingsman, that's for damn sure. So, yeah. So that's American Underdog. Next up, A Journal for Jordan. Then after that, Licorice Pizza. And then that'll be it for Christmas. And you won't be seeing me again doing this until the 355 comes out January 7th. And I might as well do an update on the movies I already talked about 2 days ago. Kingsman, Matrix, and Sing. Sing 2's doing pretty decent. Opened like 8 million on Wednesday. I don't know if that includes that 1.5 million from paid previews or not. If it doesn't, then this is really good, especially for a family movie right now. So that's great. That's better than Encanto. is opening. That'll open over Thanksgiving, so that's really good. Matrix Resurrections not doing too great, like 6.4 million. That's not what I had. I thought it would open bigger than Sing 2, and the Sing 2 will make more money in the long haul. That doesn't seem to be happening. But at the very least, when it comes to the HBO Max movies, it'll be more on the higher end than the lower end. So it's got that going for it. The King's Man, good God. 2.3 billion opening day. It's DOA. It's dead. Christmas won't save it at this point. It's dead. Like, that is just absolutely horrendous. But yeah, that's what's going on with the movies I already talked about. There's no point even mentioning the Tender Bar. Like, they're not even going to report grosses, so who cares? Yeah, so yeah, that's it. So yeah, make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got a playlist on the homepage with all previous predictions I made this year. I haven't made too many faith-based movies. I think the last one I really talked about was what? Overcomer, and that was like in 2019. So that was a long, long, long time ago. But if you want to watch any of the past, prediction videos I made this year, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I just did one yesterday about John Wick 4 moving away from 2022 to 2023. I saw that coming several miles away. So I wasn't surprised about that. I knew it was only a matter of time. So if you want to watch that or any of the other canceled videos I made, there's now 98 episodes. I never covered American Underdog once at all. Maybe in passing, but never like a direct focus on it. So yeah, if you want to watch if you want to watch any of the past canceled episodes, that way you're up to date on all the movies, go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. December recap will come out within the first week of the new year. And then also I'm going to be doing a two-part 2021 recap, the theatrical side and the streaming side, because the line has been blurred so much it's ridiculous. So can't wait to talk about all that. So stay tuned for all three of those recap videos. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made, particularly the ones for this year, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.